He was once the smiling face that every child trusted. The kid who could make millions stop what they were doing just to watch him open a box of toys. But behind that innocent grin was a billion-dollar machine, and the people pulling the strings weren't kids at all. They were his parents. And their story isn't just about family content gone wrong. It's about greed, power, and the brutal reality of what happens when you turn playtime into a business plan. What started as a feel-good YouTube channel would eventually spiral into investigations, public outrage, and the slow, poetic collapse of one of the platform's biggest empires. And the wildest part? It all began with a 3-year-old and a toy. Back in 2015, Ryan Kaji was just a toddler whose parents filmed him unboxing a toy. Nothing special, nothing fancy. But the internet did what the internet does. It latched on, hard. The video blew up, and almost overnight Ryan became a digital superstar. His parents, Lone and Cheyenne, sometimes reported as Ian, saw what was happening and didn't waste a second. They quit their stable jobs. She was a chemistry teacher, he was an engineer, and went all in. They turned their living room into a set, hired a full production team, and founded a company called Sunlight Entertainment. Before anyone realized what was happening, they had built a small family channel into a media juggernaut. Ryan's toy review became Ryan's World, and his face was suddenly everywhere. Walmart shelves, Colgate toothpaste, Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. His smile was now a brand, and that brand was printing money faster than most startups could dream of. Every time Ryan laughed on camera, the cash register rang behind the scenes. Every playtime became a piece of content. There was no such thing as a normal day anymore. Every moment was potential footage. Within a few short years, Ryan's World was pulling in over $20 million annually, more than some movie stars. His parents weren't just along for the ride, they were the captains of the ship. They built a 30-person crew to keep the content flowing, structured contracts with brands, and orchestrated an industrial-scale operation that revolved around one little boy. But while Ryan was smiling for the camera, he wasn't the one signing those contracts or deciding how much was too much. He was just a child, and the people controlling everything were the ones cashing every check. The more the brand grew, the more questions started bubbling up. How much of this money actually belonged to Ryan? Were there any safeguards? Unlike Hollywood, where child actors have laws protecting their earnings, YouTube had no such structure. Every single dollar flowed straight into his parents' accounts. They held the bread, the butter, and probably the entire bakery. Critics started to whisper about the ethics of building an empire off a child who didn't even know what a contract was. And those whispers grew louder as the channel's power exploded. For a while, it seemed untouchable. Ryan's face was on everything from backpacks to cereal boxes. But beneath the glitter, cracks were forming. Consumer watchdog groups began to take notice. Parents realized their kids weren't just watching fun videos. They were watching ads dressed up as playtime. Ryan wasn't saying, "This is sponsored." He was just grinning and gushing about every toy. The Federal Trade Commission came knocking, and it wasn't just a polite check-in. They wanted answers. How had a family playtime channel morphed into a 24/7 commercial aimed at toddlers? It turned out the Kajis had blurred the line between content and advertising to the point of invisibility. Their living room wasn't a set anymore. It was a full-blown infomercial. The backlash was brutal. Watchdogs called it manipulative. Critics called it exploitative. Parents started to see through the glossy thumbnails. And just when the heat was rising, the algorithm, the same invisible hand that made Ryan a star, turned on them. After the Kappa crackdown, YouTube completely overhauled how it treated content featuring kids. Suddenly, the algorithm stopped giving family channels that golden boost. Personalized ads were restricted. Channels like Ryan's World stopped being pushed to every child's homepage, and when the algorithm walks away, the views follow. Ryan's World experienced a free fall that was as sudden as it was dramatic. The empire that once commanded 1 billion views per video saw uploads barely scrape past 100,000. Their income plummeted by 70%, something Lone herself admitted publicly. It wasn't just a bad month. It was financial amputation. Imagine losing 70% of your audience almost overnight. The toddlers who once begged their parents to buy Ryan's toys had grown up into eye-rolling pre-teens who found the content cringe. The same kids who once saw him as a hero now saw a teenager awkwardly pretending to love plastic dinosaurs. The magic was gone. But instead of stepping back, the Kajis doubled down, in the worst way possible. They decided to make a movie. Ryan's World Titan Universe Adventure. A $10 million attempt to prove that their son was still the golden ticket. But when the film hit theaters, it didn't just flop. It imploded. It grossed a tragic $624,000. Tiny indie films with no marketing outperformed it within weeks. Theaters were so empty you could hear popcorn kernels popping in the silence. Fans noticed something else too. Ryan's once radiant smile had dimmed. His voice was quieter, his energy flat. He didn't look like a kid having fun anymore. He looked like a teenager clocking into another shift at a job he never applied for. And just when people thought the Kajis couldn't possibly push things further, they proved everyone wrong. With Ryan clearly burning out, they shifted the spotlight to his younger twin sisters, Emma and Kate. Barely 7 years old, and already the new stars of an animated series and featured heavily in the family's content. The internet erupted. Ryan made them $34 million and now they're milking the twins too? One viral comment read. Social media was flooded with outrage, accusing the parents of treating their children like a rotating lineup of golden geese. The backlash reached lawmakers. Several states rushed to pass new legislation requiring parents to set aside earnings for kids appearing in online content. Ryan's World didn't just make YouTube history, it changed actual laws. But here's the thing most people didn't see. While their public image was unraveling, behind the scenes, the Kajis were running something far bigger than a family vlog. Sunlight Entertainment had evolved into a complex corporate machine, licensing deals, brand partnerships, international contracts. They were quietly selling off parts of Ryan's image like real estate, every smile, every catchphrase, trademarked and licensed to third-party companies. Ryan wasn't just a person anymore. He was intellectual property. While the YouTube money dried up, the licensing machine kept humming. Backpacks, breakfast cereals, streaming deals. Most of it was no longer even run by the family directly. Former staff began to speak anonymously, painting a picture that shattered the wholesome facade. Production schedules were relentless. The pressure was constant. The environment, emotionally draining. Everything revolved around output. More videos, more views, more merch. For years it worked. But once Ryan's interest faded, the machine had no idea how to slow down. They were too famous to disappear quietly, too controversial to pretend everything was fine. Every move was dissected. Every pivot met with skepticism. Even when they tried to rebrand with more educational or positive content, audiences weren't buying it. The internet had seen behind the curtain, and once that happens, there's no going back. By now, Ryan's public image has shifted entirely. He's no longer seen as the cheerful toy review kid. Many see him as a survivor of a system that chewed him up before he could even grow into himself. People speculate that when he turns 18, we'll see a tell-all documentary exposing everything. Some even joke, not so lightly, that Netflix is probably already drafting the script. Whether he speaks out or not, the damage is done. The once untouchable Kaji empire is cracked from every angle, financially, legally, and culturally. And karma? Oh, karma showed up with a front row seat. For years, they built an empire on a child's innocence. Now that same empire is collapsing under the weight of its own greed. Their views have nosedived. Their reputation is in shambles. Lawmakers are watching. Audiences are awake. The algorithm isn't coming back to save them. And while they may still live in their Hawaiian mansion surrounded by mountains of unsold merch, the golden goose has officially stopped laying eggs. It's a strange kind of justice. They turned playtime into profit, and now the internet has turned their legacy into a warning. Their story isn't one of family entertainment anymore. It's a modern cautionary tale, a lesson for every parent chasing clout through their kids, because fame built on tiny shoulders never lasts. The kids grow up, the audience moves on, and the truth, eventually, always comes out. The Kajis thought they were building a brand that would last forever. Instead, they built a monument to their own greed. And now, piece by piece, that monument is crumbling for everyone to see. So, what do you think? Were Ryan's parents just misguided entrepreneurs swept up in something bigger than they expected? Or were they full-on exploiters chasing fame at any cost? Let me know your thoughts below. Because one thing's for sure, the rise and fall of Ryan's world is one of the wildest stories YouTube has ever seen. And we're probably only at the beginning of the fallout.